From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on your Friday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. President Trump's options running out as he attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. The U.S. Supreme Court dealt another blow to the president's legal efforts by rejecting a case brought by the Texas State Attorney General by a vote of 7-2 today. It was a case that Montana's Attorney General had signed on to and which had support of more than 100 Republican members of Congress. The Electoral College is set to meet Monday to make the election results official. Earlier, President-elect Joe Biden formally introduced several new cabinet nominees, including some familiar faces from his time as vice president. Natalie Brand is in Wilmington, Delaware with more.
Fresh off their selection as Time Magazine Person of the Year, President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris presented several more cabinet nominees.
It's time to rededicate ourselves to the mission our government agencies were entrusted with. And to the American people, help is on the way.
The picks include some former Obama administration officials.
I'm honored by the trust that you've placed in me to return.
We're going to fight like hell to give our veterans and their families the health care, respect, and dignity they deserve.
We are here to get hard stuff done.
Also, House Ways and Means Committee trade lawyer Catherine Tai for U.S. Trade Representative.
I look forward to harnessing the power of our trade relationships to help communities lift themselves out of the current crisis.
And Ohio Congresswoman Marcia Fudge for HUD Secretary.
We will help people believe once again that their government cares about them, no matter who they are.
Before the event here in Delaware, Senator Harris went to Capitol Hill for a procedural vote ahead of the Senate's passage of a defense bill and a one-week funding measure to avert a government shutdown. This sets the stage for a funding showdown next week over a government spending bill and COVID relief. At the White House, President Trump referred to a Biden administration in a tweet as a, quote, scandal-plagued mess and called on the Supreme Court to save the USA.
The president's legal team is obviously doing everything they can.
But Friday night, the High Court denied a Texas case in a 7-2 vote, which sought to block electoral votes in 4 battleground states Mr. Biden won. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
Earlier this week, Montana Attorney General Tim Fox had added Montana to the list of states joining that lawsuit seeking to overturn the Biden win. And Governor-elect and current Congressman Greg Gianforte also came out in support of it. Governor Steve Bullock filed a brief before today's decision asking the U.S. Supreme Court not to hear that case. All right, time for our first check on the weather with Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. Bob, sounds like a little bit of snow's already fallen out.
You know, the last time it snowed here, we actually could say we measured it was November 11th, a month ago.
Wow.
So let me show you what's happening out there. Right now, Doppler radar shows you the snow is making its way up from Wyoming. It's made its way in towards Bighorn County, now moving into Yellowstone County, all the way up towards Rygate, seeing some light snow there. Pull back and show you that our forecast map is showing that this stuff is going to continue throughout probably a good portion of the tonight and right into tomorrow morning. Now, eventually, all the snow is going to probably start moving away. Here we are at like 6 o'clock on Saturday evening, and then it finally starts moving away. Drying conditions on Sunday, but then another batch of snow starts moving in probably sometime on Monday, so we'll see what happens. So how much snow are we talking about? Well, here's what the latest computer model says, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow in Billings. You may have to shovel it this time. We'll have more in your forecast in a few more minutes.
Thanks, Bob. The U.S. Surgeon General made an unexpected stop in Billings today after weather would not allow his flight to continue on to Poplar. Dr. Jerome Adams says he expects vaccines to be given out next week. Q2's David J. caught up with him and has more from the Billings Clinic.
I want you, while the TV cameras are here, to just give me an overview of what this has looked like here in Billings to the nurses. What's capacity look like now? What are your nurses feeling and experiencing?
Staffing has been incredibly challenging. Our teams are tired. They're exhausted. And what they're witnessing every day comes with a price tag. It's been not just physically and mentally challenging, but emotionally.
Vice Admiral Jerome Adams, the U.S. Surgeon General, heard from hospital workers and put out his own message.
The most important thing that I want people to understand and remember is that it's going to be a really hard next couple of weeks. And I just want to be straight with people about that. Our hospitals are at capacity. We're seeing record deaths. And we need to all come together.
He talked about the importance of masks, distancing, washing hands, and about vaccines, which he called the ultimate tool to deal with COVID.
We expected this vaccine, we were hoping this vaccine would be 60% effective. We would have been ecstatic if it was 70% effective. These vaccines are 95% effective. We can truly end this pandemic, end it, and get back to normal if people get vaccinated.
And Dr. Adams expects the country will see some reopenings.
We will get to the point where we're starting to turn that light switch up in the next couple of weeks slowly, and they will notice changes throughout, but that we still have to keep mitigating until we get the lights fully on.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Thanks, David. As we head into the weekend, Montana health authorities report a dozen more deaths due to COVID-19 related illness. 9 of those victims from Cascade County. Fergus County also reports 2 more deaths, and Blaine County 1. The latest deaths bring the state total to 831 tonight. Now that the Pfizer vaccine has passed a critical hurdle with a formal FDA approval for emergency use, Montana hospitals can put their plans into motion. As COVID-19 cases surge in Billings and hospital beds fill, the vaccine is giving workers hope. Q2's Andrea Lutz has more.
At Billings Clinic, those first initial doses coming in as early as Wednesday.
I think there is the expected wariness about a shot and a vaccine, but for the overall organization at large, it's pretty exciting.
And as empty beds remain scarce and workers are pushed to the max, many are hoping the sight of the vaccine will serve as a much-needed calm in the fight against COVID-19.
Because of the number of patients we're seeing and the overall volume that the hospital's under, the idea of something that could kind of ebb that tide is very exciting.
The hospital's chief medical officer says vaccines are effective, and this one has been through a rigorous path to approval.
This feels very fast because it has been fast, but the standards that they've gone through with the FDA to prove that it's safe and efficacious for patients has been very, very rigorous.
While some at the clinic are still unsure if they'll take the vaccine because it's not a requirement, 75% answered they will in a recent hospital survey of employees.
But we definitely have a lot of people who are wondering when their turn will be. The next question to that is, when is my family going to be eligible?
And after this initial rollout, the hospital then gets estimates on a weekly basis for additional doses.
The hard thing to remember is that it's a limited resource to start with, but being patient over the next couple of months that we will get there.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Thanks, Andrea. And again, the first round of vaccines will stay in Billings, go to frontline workers. Billings Clinic has been asked to also help first responders get the vaccine as well. Well, a man being treated for COVID could not make it to his son's wedding day, but nurses at Billings Clinic helped him attend virtually. Nurses and family helped Ronald Brewer watch his son's wedding on an iPad in the intensive care unit. The wedding was in Big Timber. Nurses helped him get shaved and dressed in wedding attire. Flowers and cupcakes added to the festivities for Ronald. It's a special time for the Brewer family and for the nurses.
When you can help someone to be able to not miss out on a life event. You know, so many of these people have missed Thanksgiving, will probably miss Christmas. So to be able to go and help someone be able to participate in a family life event, even though they're in the hospital, is just amazing. It makes you feel like everything's going to be okay.
Well, Joni West says nurses have done this for other patients and it often helps with their recovery. Well, Zoo Montana has a perfect social distancing activity and it's bound to put you in the holiday spirit. It's called Zoo Lights. Leading up to Christmas, you can take in some of those Christmas lights from the seat of your car or on a horse-drawn wagon. Businesses sponsor light displays throughout the zoo grounds. Those lights will run December 12th and then also the 18th through the 24th from 6 until 9 p.m. And the Q2 Weekend News will have a feature about Zoo Lights tradition that is actually a family business. Well, up next on the MTN News at 10 here on Q2, your fingers will soon have to do a little more walking when making phone calls in Montana. We'll explain, and then later, it may look like fun and games, but a homeschooling project has turned into a money-making venture for one Billings family. We'll be right back.